No one has earned more blocks than the man that's about to take stadium court. And man, is he the greatest to ever do it. The thin beast on championship court. Phil Dalhausser playing alongside Avery Drost, and they are in a Contenders bracket matchup. You're not going to want to miss this one. Tim Brewster playing alongside Jake Dietrich, a team that is on the rise and a new team to the Manhattan Beach Open, as Tim Brewster traditionally playing alongside Kyle Fred. He is now serving as the coach to this duo. We can't wait to see these two teams go head to head. We're so thrilled to have you here for the Manhattan Beach Open here in 2024, the second Heritage Series event of the season, and another shot to head off to the league. Welcome in. I'm Cameron Irwin alongside Olympic gold medalist Rich Lamborn. Welcome to the booth. Welcome to Contenders Saturday. I mean, we've already seen three-setter after three-setter. How tough is it to be in the Contenders bracket?
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal, right? We see the knockdown, drag-out nature of all these matches already this morning. I mean, you and I didn't even show up in sleeves today because we're ready to get it going ourselves, so it is tough out there.
Well, from the thicker beast to the thin beast, let's head on down to Mark Sherman, who's got your introductions for all four of these fantastic pros. You're not going to want to miss this Contenders bracket matchup.
What a day. What a day on Stadium Court. 3 straight 3-set matches. It's 12 o'clock, and we started at 8, and I love every minute of it. Manhattan Beach, how y'all feeling about the start to Survival Saturday? Yes, I feel good too. Mild applause. I'm good with that. All right, let's do this. Let's meet these teams, huh? Oh, hi, buddy. What's up, friend? How we doing? How we doing? This first guy, it's looking good. It's feeling good. Those shorts, not quite tight enough, though. I'm just saying. They are high, though. Out of Santa Clarita, California, everybody. And you see Santa Cruz. Let me hear it for Jake Dietrich. And his partner. Are you still okay with Jake after he just, like, lit you up? Practice serving? It's all right. They'll get along. Ladies and gentlemen, out of Manhattan Beach, California, this kid is so much fun to watch. He saw beach volleyball at the London Olympics, and he was like, this is my game. Yes, and we're happy you chose it. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Tim Brewster. And their opponents, once again, this is Contenders bracket looking to stay alive. These guys do not want to go anywhere as they look to increase their position to make the league. This first guy, one of my favorites to watch throughout the year since my first days on the AVP. I love the passion, maybe the Palm Beach passion. I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear it for Avery Drost. Would it be Palm Beach passion for these guys? Maybe to be the Brooklyn Blaze? I don't know. Who knows? Ladies and gentlemen, this guy, the Olympic gold medalist, the legend. You love to see him out here year after year on the court. He is Phil Dalhausser.
Phil Dalhausser, 7 Manhattan Beach Open titles, 3 of which alongside Nick Lucena. This guy is more than a legend.
7 titles, Cam. You can almost get all 10,000 of your steps in and still be trotting over Phil's name on the pier.
Yeah, he takes up 900 feet of the 928 feet of the Manhattan Beach Pier.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's very, very impressive what he's done in the sport and continues to do in the sport.
That's Tim Brewster at the service line. He's on the right side of the court, playing alongside Jake Dietrich, who serves as their blocker. High set, you got to be able to set high for Phil. Had to go on 2 after the touch off the block. Quick arm, a lower set for Phil.
Yeah, I think that was probably lower than Avery wanted it to be. Phil adjusted. Interesting strategy going at Phil out of the gate. Even with the free ball shoveling it over to Phil. Let's see how that plays out for him, Cam.
Tosses this short to Jake Dietrich. Oh! Nothing like a good face block to get things started.
1, 2, go.
Check yourself, Phil.
Yeah, it's interesting how you can sort of hold off your reaction if the play's still going on, and then the second the ball hits the sand, obviously you start checking the bill of your cap, your forehead, the glasses hit the sand.
Or in the case of Phil Dalhausser, he probably gets his shoulders and chest over the height of the net.
Well, that bill's always in play, unfortunately, for the big fella.
Phil Dalhausser, the four-time, yes, that's right, four-time Olympian and one-time Olympic gold medalist in 2008. Originally out of Switzerland, residing in Orlando, Florida now. Chance to get coached by the great Phil Dalhausser. New academy.
Yeah, they've got a great facility down there as well. Beautiful. It's on this kind of new little complex, lots of restaurants in the area. It's really a nice setup.
He's also recently inducted into the Volleyball Hall of Fame a year ago.
That was the international, right? Yeah.
Maybe a little too much sunscreen on that one.
I played with a guy that plays out here on the AVP, Dave Lee, who used to, as part of his service routine, kind of wind the ball around his sweaty arms to try and induce exactly that.
I was going to say, it sounds like a solid strategy.
Yeah. Those Long Beach guys are sneaky. You got to watch out for them.
Jake Dietrich going full Statue of Liberty. The high poke is out of bounds.
Yeah, this, you know, sports in general, but beach volleyball, a big game of matchups. And this is an interesting matchup because you got Tim Brewster playing great defense out there, but then the transition part, you got to go against, you know, arguably the best blocker of all time. Anders Moll maybe has something to say about that these days, but that makes it difficult to score. There's another one, Philly sticking with the split block to the detriment of his forehead.
I was just about to say, this is pretty traditional in terms of some of the older matchups we've seen against Phil Dalhausser. He works with this split block. Explain exactly how the split block works and why he kind of goes that direction.
Well, I mean, he's up so big that when he puts, you know, one arm this way, the other arm the other way, he takes away so much space. And, you know, obviously that kind of hit up the middle that we saw Jake Dietrich employ is something people went to knowing that Phil does that split block a lot, but it's so intimidating if you're just kind of using your peripheral vision and you see hands in both directions. You kind of panic momentarily perhaps and don't have any idea where to hit the ball.
So if you're sitting at home, instead of going full field goal with your arms directly above your head, think more of turning yourself into a Y, and that's how you create that split block. The right and left hands are separate from one another.
Big factor in that is having your head and shoulders above the net, like you said, Phil does.
Also true. There's a look at Jake Dietrich, 35 years old. Out of Redondo Beach. He's got a nice swing to him as well. 6'5". Played indoor at Pierce College.
Yeah, they've produced a lot of great volleyball players, Pierce, up in the Valley. It's interesting, you get differences in matchups, but you also get differences in partnerships, right? The sort of on-court vibe between Drost and Dalhausser, night and day, right? You get Avery with the demonstrative, you know, whooping it up with the crowd and chest thumping and all that. And Phil just kind of goes about his business quietly.
How about Phil in the backcourt right now? We've seen him win a title split blocking.
Absolutely. Another Olympian, Andy Benish.
Still probably one of my favorite titles. The two bigs playing defense, but there's that quick arm of Tim Brewster.
Avery obviously traditionally playing defense behind Phil, but has spent most of his career, I believe, as a blocker, so it's not foreign to him to be up at the net.
Avery Drost recently playing in the epic event that is the Seaside Tournament in the Pacific Northwest. Made it to the finals alongside Jake Urrutia. Took second. There's the ace, though, from Avery Drost. Avery and Phil did play Huntington Beach alongside one another as he attacks the sideline there.
Yeah, really nice rhythm on that toss and attack from the service line.
tough serve through the middle. Oh, on two. There's a golf clap for that one.
Yeah, tricky, but also I would say a little bit sticky.
I knew you were going there.
That thing was spinning a little bit more than you like to see on that play, I think.
Looking for Phil to option. Pass way off the net. Somehow you just got to get that back over the net. How would you define the play of Tim Brewster?
Yeah, tenacious is what I would say. I mean, he is an unbelievable defender, and he has great control. You know, we talk about that kind of multifaceted defensive setup, right? You got to make the read, you got to be in good spots, but then you've got to control the ball once it comes to you, and he does all that extremely, extremely well.
Brewster now on defense. That's a great dig and pull off the net from Dietrich. A second in the rally. I wouldn't say the most sure-footed approach.
Yeah, it's getting a little breezy out there, I think. Some of the setting blowing all over the plays, not kind of as precise as we're used to seeing from some of these players.
A look to the flags here on Stadium Court. That onshore breeze just slightly heading north as well.
That's fantastic work from our team, just right on cue.
Echo Entertainment doing a great job for us here. Shout out to all the volunteers, the entire production staff. This is a beast of a tournament to put together, and they have been working tirelessly to bring you all the great coverage.
I think that the win may be factoring into why Phil's seeing more serves than we expect him to see, right? Because he's kind of on that ocean side, and the wind coming off the ocean makes that the more difficult serve for Jake and Tim to hit.
Dalhausser with 5 attempts, to your point. Drost with 4. Inside set. I mean, you knew right as soon as that ball got tight, Phil Dalhausser was going to have something to say about it.
It was going to be a highlight one way or the other. Jake was going to detonate it, or it was going to get detonated on him. Unfortunately for Dietrich and Brewster, it was the latter.
Highlight turned low light for Dietrich. Wow, Avery's on it, but so is Brewster. Second chances.
Finding the end line, Cam.
Brewster dropping the gavel. By the way, he is in law school at LMU.
Nerd.
Me or him?
Yes.
Both. Drost with the cross court. Tim Brewster, though, had a really cool volleyball journey. He actually went to UCLA, but didn't play volleyball there. He worked as a manager and practice player for the women's beach team for a while. He now finds himself at Loyola Marymount University. He's about halfway through his law school. Talk about some elevation. There's Dietrich.
Great pass from Tim, too. The ball control on display.
Out of system play for Dalhausser and Drost. So quick, flying in is Brewster.
A little too much sauce on the dig from Phil.
Platform's too long.
Well, he has unbelievable control back there. You are used to seeing him at the net so much, you don't realize that he's such a great defender, too. But you watch him pull and dig with the lefty pokey and all that kind of stuff. I mean, his touch on the ball is unmatched.
between sets of this match, and we're going to need some contestants.
Well, we've been talking about the block and play of Phil Dalhausser. He has set the example for not just the men in the field, but also women across the board. Brandy Wilkerson, one of the best blockers in the world. Here's what she had to say about Phil.
Was there a player on the AVP that you looked up to?
Not to be annoying, but it was like Phil, obviously, like everyone did. It just seemed to be a nice little package of like what a professional beach volleyball player could look like. Outside of that, it's obviously like his domination and the legacy he's created with blocking. And that is just like, blocking is the reason why I play beach volleyball. So it's like, you're telling me there's someone that's doing this and it's this incredible level. Yeah, sign me up for that. And I wanna look like that. I wanna be like that. I believe I can be. So it was, he's always kind of been in the back of my mind for what's the best and how can I get there.
An unwavering belief is what propelled them to a silver medal in Paris. Brandy Wilkerson, well, one of the best to play the game, and especially at that blocking position. The idol of Phil Dalhausser is a perfect example.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels between their games, right? And yeah, patterning your game after anything Phil does is always a smart strategy.
Brandy Wilkerson, only 5'10", but she blocks like she's 6'5".
I guess they would be on the polar opposite ends of the spectrum from a hair standpoint.
That's true. Brandy has got some pretty epic hair. Big swing, what in the world? Tim Brewster with the dig of the day. Can he get one more? He doesn't have to. That's more than a scoop from Tim Brewster. From his knees, the overhead contact.
But you see him position himself there on purpose, kind of doing the math real quickly in his head, knowing where that ball was going to go down. What a tremendous play. Tim Brewster and Jake paying it off with the block.
I mean, you can do the math all you want. That doesn't mean I'm going to end up sitting in that spot. That's a terrifying place to be.
True. True. Sometimes when you're a defender the level of Tim Brewster, though, you like a wide open look from time to time. There's no blocker to kind of interfere with the direction of the ball, and he just stands in there, puts his hands up, and gets paid off with a beautiful dig.
Sealing the line, Phil Dalhausser.
14-11 for Phil, block number 2.
You're used to Phil making, you know, tremendously impressive moves, but that's something he does so excellently well also, is just the little things like the kind of disciplined moves, closing that line down. Jake a little bit compromised in kind of the range he has from outside the court, and Phil not letting him sneak it down the line.
First contact. Troubling, but again, Tim Brewster just betters the ball.
Yeah, he bettered that in a big way, too. I thought he was going right into the front yard past the white picket fence. Puts up a beauty.
They do say the grass is always greener, right? In this case, the sand.
Yeah, you would hope the sand would be a little bit cooler on one side of the fence, right?
No one's really complained about the temp of the sand thus far from the athlete's perspective. All of them pretty accustomed to it. Most of them residing here in Manhattan Beach or just about a mile south of us in Hermosa. The home to beach volleyball is right here in the South Bay in Southern California. Phil in the backcourt again. Dietrich. That's a tough ball, tight set. But hey, if you've got Drost up there, you might as well throw it a little bit tighter. Am I wrong, as opposed to Phil?
No, that's a great call, and I think Timmy was on the same page as you. Just kind of shoveled that thing right up on top of the net. Let Jake use his height advantage.
Yeah, a bit more of a mismatch there between Dietrich and Drost. Don't get me wrong, Drost has got some height on him too, but as opposed to Dietrich, stands at 6'5", jumps well above the height of the net. It says Avery 6'5". Do you think that's Are they the same?
I do not think so.
I was gonna say.
That, yeah, 6'5". Avery might be 6'5", but I would have Jake as taller than that.
Yeah, I agree.
Really nice
Showcasing that
blocking
height
move,
there.
Yeah, really good.
What a pass from Drost. Phil getting the hand on it. Avery Drost continues to find himself up at the net, 37 years old. He went off to Westmont College in Santa Barbara, where he was a middle blocker. He's had a chance to play along Phil for a few events to this point, including Huntington Beach.
It's going to go by the wayside, especially since Phil and Avery lost that point, but the falling backwards perfect set from Phil, unbelievable.
Brewster in the box now alongside Dietrich. They're playing really nicely at 15 all. Kyle Fringe there just on the left corner, but Tim Brewster, I mean, I have never seen a save quite like what we saw in this one. Right underneath. How about the Wilson play of the day? How about the play of the weekend?
It very well could be. I mean, that was a great look at it too, because you saw him just kind of creep into the net, know that he was awfully close, so he gets his hands up above his head. Yeah, just unbelievable defensive instincts, and then of course the sort of intestinal fortitude to stand in there.
Talking about some of the adjustments now. Jake Dietrich has had a long career, looking to play professional beach volleyball. Began playing indoor volleyball when he was just about 14. Started playing in some AVPs back in 2015. Wasn't able to find the success he was looking for. Decided to take a step back. Had a little one alongside his wife. Decided to come back in 2020. We're sure glad he did. It's become a nice addition from a blocking standpoint on the men's side.
You have it in your notes there. He's another guy with kind of a brainy job.
Looking for it, Rich.
Yeah, we've got team brain power over there in Brewster and Dietrich. I want to say it's like some sort of computer engineer.
I do know he's a big fan of League of Legends. Wife Lisa is also one of the AVP photographers. So all that amazing content you're seeing, not only from the McKibbin brothers online, but a lot of that also stems from Lisa. The great imagery she can put together.
I never put that together. Same last name. Interesting.
I'm worried about you, Rich. I'm worried. We've been talking about the league all weekend long, and rightly so, because it's coming up this fall. Let's take a look at where the women's side stands. We were discussing Brandy Wilkerson. Well, her and Melissa Humana-Paredes, not only did they take home the silver in Paris, but they took home the Huntington Beach title. So they have secured their position into the league. As you can see where the rest of the women's draw falls. This is coming into the Manhattan Beach Open. Tony Rodriguez, Gina Urango, you can see the names in the hunt. Abby Van Winkle, Savvy Simo, they're definitely going to improve. Already taking down Sarah Hughes and Kelly Chang there on the winner's side of the bracket. As you look to the men, Taylor Crabb, Taylor Sander, already one Heritage Series title to their name. Do you think these two could end up taking the league championship as well?
Yeah, it's a long ways off and a lot of volleyball yet to be played, but certainly they are two of the names that will be largely in the hunt for that.
A look to the schedule. We hope you stay with us all fall long. We'll have not only football season, volleyball season will be in full effect, and you can catch all the beach volleyball action right here on the AVP, whether in LA or even on the East Coast. Taking a trip over to Miami, get a chance to see Palm Beach Passion in the mix. Avery Drost giving a little extra come on. And Phil's over here with his own little minor clap.
Yeah, when you're Phil's partner, I guess you got to get used to celebrating. So you
On your own.
make it a skill in and of itself.
It's a singular celebration.
Yeah.
I mean, that's handcuffing your partner if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, that's back to back, and I'm not sure what happened there. It's just I'm not sure if they're trying to kind of push the option, but a couple relatively easy serves and just a little bit overcooked by Jake Dietrich in the reception. And tight against Phil is not a good recipe for success.
Dietrich doing a nice job on that first contact, creating space and leaving a divot.
Yeah, we saw the flip side of that a little earlier when Phil smothered one, but that is what Jake Dietrich is capable of.
He just gave him a handshake on the crossover.
Yeah, well deserved.
Well deserved, for sure. Throw that one in the highlight reel. Within 3. Wind in the face of Drost and Dalhausser. Nice lift there on the pass. Brewster is airborne. Inside set. Gotta go, and the little back poke. The bink.
The binky. That is very nicely done defensively from Dietrich and Brewster. There's a look at Timmy, full layout, chasing it down. And yeah, just barely evading Phil's big left hand.
Phil Dalhausser, 6'9", in case you're wondering. I just love the falling Phil Dalhausser set. You just know he doesn't even have to get up because he already knows it's going to be perfection.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of Karch. Karch used to always kind of set and go to his knees. Yeah, Phil's fallen away there, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, he used to always set and go to his knees, but then be immediately back up because he and Steffes were two of the best coverers of all time.
Taking you through the archives, Richie Lamborn.
Yeah.
18-20.
Sadly, that represents my childhood, which indicative of my age.
I didn't bring it up. That was a look at set point. 1 cent into the top of the tape. Drost. Did he get a little finger? No good.
It didn't look like it. He tried to celebrate his way to a call, Avery, but Johnny King not fooled up there.
That's the true form of a singular celebration.
Yeah. Yeah, great slow-mo replay. No touch detected.
Perfect set again with the high line. Dietrich trying to find a high enough touch for his partner, but ultimately it's Dalhausser and Drost who take the first. Again, this is a Contenders bracket matchup. You find this first set, you're looking a lot better to continue here at the MBO.
Yeah, that was a good first set. I mean, Jake and Tim did a lot of really good stuff, but kind of the relentless pressure from Phil and Avery was a little too much in the end.
So the 2-point win for Drost and Dalhausser. Can they continue their momentum into the second set?
How about a little magic, huh?
little switch up here on the AVP, the league like you've never seen before. Mark Sherman down on the sand with the Statue of Liberty, but you'll get a chance to see some of the best teams, the top 8 teams on the men's and women's side, getting after it all fall. I mean, it's going to be a completely different dynamic, Rich.
Yeah, new format, a bunch of new cities, and I don't know, one overall title to play for. It's going to be quite interesting, and I'm pumped. I mean, that's my first time seeing that commercial. I think I got chills. It was exciting. I'm ready.
I think the McKibbins put that together.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Did a beautiful job with it, as we are so stoked for the league soon approaching. And the best on the beach, Phil's Beach wins per partner. I mentioned Nick Lucena and him have won 3 MBO titles alongside one another, but of course there's the great Todd Rogers, who's now over coaching at Cal Poly. And I love it, Andy Benish also in the mix.
65 wins. That's a lot, right?
Yeah. Similar to your age.
Very close.
And there's a little celebration from Dalhausser and Drost. That one, Phil gave like a little fist pump, and Avery didn't even see it. He's just not anticipating it anymore. Let's be real, Rich Lamborn is really only 25.
That's right. In my
15 mentally.
My maturity levels, yeah. It's a little known youth serum is immaturity.
The only reason I can give you grief is because I just love you that much, right?
Oh, I don't do well with emotions, Cam. Let's get back to the volleyball.
He can't handle it. He can't handle it. How awkward can I make Rich Lamborn to start the second set? 1 up. Brewster's working on the score. Not 1 up.
1-1, here we go.
Finger tap that down. Jake Dietrich. So if you're Brewster and Dietrich, you feel like you've put yourself in a good position. I know you lost set 1, but what is working for them that they can carry over into the second to try and get to number 3?
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a good job serving tough right there. The passing seems to be a little bit difficult out there, as does the setting. We talked about the wind picking up just a little bit. So keep that pressure on from the end line and trust your defense. Timmy almost getting that line shot.
So watch for the service pressure and specifically how the wind affects that first contact. Who can stay in system most? Dalhausser's jump serve. He always wonders when it's coming out, as he sends Phil right back in to the silica.
Yeah, those are important side outs as well, right? Phil just back there, and Phil and Avery go with that split block so Phil can just kind of concentrate on hitting his best serve and not have to think about running up to the net. Big side out for Jake and Tim.
Just off the hands, Dietrich pulled his own down, thinking that was going to be a bit more of a slap shot.
Yeah, good last minute switch up from Avery. Oftentimes, I like that move from Jake, as a matter of fact, because you kind of expect that the player is going to come in. The offensive player, in this case Avery, thinks it's going to be a joust. So you pull your hands and try and induce that open hand contact call. Avery seeing it in time, getting the kill.
Jake Dietrich doing a nice job offensively. He's seeing the majority of attacks and attempts. Of course, I jinxed him there, but before that last one, he was 12 of 22 with only 3 errors, that being his 4th error. He was sitting at 409.
It's interesting. I just kind of noticed, I didn't think it was a pattern, but it appears to be that yesterday we were talking about how Troy Field passes from the left side and gets way outside to come outside to in. Jake almost does the opposite. Kind of gathers to the middle of the court and comes straight in.
Approach angle is always interesting to see. It kind of varies. As there's the straight on look from Dietrich.
I think he was trying to hit that up in our direction, but Phil just got all over the top of it. Have a look.
Hey, I'm ready to get in the game. Why not? Actually, that's why not.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with that.
He was not swinging for the court there, but Phil just had both hands wrapped around that thing. Yeah, that's right, Cameron.
Richly important. A little bit more of that spread block from Phil Dalhausser. Dalhausser already with 5 total blocks, 1 control. They go to Phil. What angle will he choose? They're all correct for him.
Yeah, great pass. Nice set that time from Drost. Got it up high enough for the big fella. Not easy into that wind to get it up high enough and kind of keep it on Phil's hitting shoulder.
Baby scoop for Avery. But a nice swing.
Really good swing. Yeah, good position defensively. Phil rolls him up.
Avery trying to get the crowd involved. They give him a little something.
Gave him a little something, something. It is packed in here already midway through the day on Saturday.
Short serve from Phil. And how about that? I feel like that's something we don't talk as much about, but having the ability to kind of have some of those more linear swings into the depth of the court becomes such a weapon in the sport of beach volleyball.
Right, it does. And I mean, that's something you have to really think about against Phil. If you're trying to hit acute angles, he's taken away a lot of those.
Acute as in small.
Right.
And sharp.
Not as in adorable.
Avery with a little bit of a slower or more, I would say, reduced in time for those last 2 steps. Watch this. Kind of late to get in there and screws with the block of Dietrich. Brewster from the left. Interesting, Phil pulling off the net. How many times have you seen that happen?
Yeah, I think they'll incorporate it a little bit more maybe against Tim.
Okay.
I mean, we would rightfully call him undersized as a defender, just height-wise.
We've been talking about the conditions. This is how it has progressed throughout the day in terms of the wind. Started about 9 miles per hour, now up to 12. Honestly, pretty perfect beach conditions. You're used to having a little something here in the South Bay, but still always a factor in this sport.
Yeah, we kind of had that marine layer all morning. It's fully burned off now, and it is gorgeous out here.
Just 2 short weeks' time, we'll be in Chicago. The Chicago Open, another Heritage Series event, the last stop to be able to find yourself in the league. It's the only 3 tournaments you can find points and secure your position. That's out of bounds, so you better be playing Huntington Beach, Manhattan Beach, and Chicago.
Yeah, it's nice if you're the Taylors and you're Brandy and Mel and you've already secured your spot. We saw that graphic earlier, which allows Brandy and Melissa to rightfully be on their victory tour to celebrate their.
I think they're off somewhere in Europe just enjoying themselves, as they should be.
As they should be, yeah. They took care of business in Huntington. They can take this weekend off and enjoy themselves, and the great success in Paris. Another great serve from Phil.
We used to talk about Phil Dalhausser and when he would start to use the option more when he played alongside Nick Lucena, and when he would be aggressive from the service line. And from the start, really, Phil has brought the pace and that jump topspin serve.
I'm not kidding when I say this. I think Phil, for whatever reason, never laid out 100% of what he's capable of. Like, I think realistically, he could option every single time. You know, when he was playing with Nick, for example, that was more and more a part of their offense. I don't think he did it anywhere near as much as he could have. Like, he's such a nice guy, you know, and this is my complete speculation as to why. He's such a nice guy. He doesn't want to do everything, so to speak, right? Let his partner shine as well alongside of him. And so it's amazing the success he had, while, in my opinion, not even going pedal to the floor at all times.
Maybe 80%, but even at that, I think there was a conservation of energy, right? Because we always would say he could just flip a switch, right? And all of a sudden, Phil would just take over a match, and oftentimes he would somewhat reserve that for the semifinals and finals.
Right.
These tournaments are long. You're playing multiple games in a day, and for Phil Dalhausser, you can imagine this guy doing a really nice job in the twilight of his career now.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that assessment, right? He's one of the maybe only players that I feel like had that capability, you know, because I was taught and am a believer that greatness is not a switch that you can flip on and off. I think Phil would be sort of an outlier to that concept. I think he absolutely showed that he's been capable of that time and time again.
He is the exception to the rule.
Yes, Phil, yes.
He's also an exceptional defender.
Great dig, and just kind of sachets his way into the net and goes
Sachets.
just little baby steps for the line shot.
Yeah, his baby step is equivalent to my leap.
yeah. Long jump.
From the outside, there's Dietrich into the deep middle.
Yeah, Avery going split block there. A little bit different results than when Phil does it.
The winner of this match will move on in the Contenders bracket. Their opponent, how about some Olympians? Some more, to be exact. Buttinger and Evans. That's Chase Buttinger and Miles Evans. 5 seed.
13-7, 1 point to the technical timeout.
Always fun to watch Chase Buttinger and just the wild amount of athleticism that he has in his game. One of the all-time great competitors. Like, there is all-time fire coming off that guy.
Yeah.
Brewster with the extension on the arm swing. How about a little poke to poke? And Avery Drost closes the point.
14-7, it's all Avery and Phil.
Yeah, that's a great get. Phil kind of trying to recycle it, and Avery there equal to the task, kind of the diving dig. You see it right there. Great save.
So it's all me. We got the medium balls. We got the big ones. Let's go.
Nice platform from Phil Dalhausser.
Yeah. We know his prowess with the hand setting, but his bump setting leaves nothing on the table either.
So into the box they go into the technical timeout. Substantial lead for Phil Dalhausser and Avery Drost, who did in fact take set number 1. Kyle Friend in the slunks and serving as coach. And speaking of slunks, how about some more? Troy Field out on Stadium Court, tossing out some Wilson volleyballs, one of his primary sponsors, rocking that W on those slunks. Mark Sherwood always having fun. It's not just a good time to tune in to this coverage on Valley Live. You can also come on down to the beach, just south of the Manhattan Beach Pier. Join in on the fun. This place is getting packed. Vince Vaughn's here, by the way.
Oh. I felt a funny vibe.
Speaking of which, is there a wedding nearby?
Nice.
Come on, that was good.
That was very good. Very good.
Hard to control a block when it's coming off your forearms.
Very true.
How do you deal with that, right? So if you've got that much height over the top of the net, are you always aiming to block the ball? This sounds like it's simple, but with your hands, like how do you cover some of that when you know the ball's still going to go with a forearm from time to time?
Yeah, silly as it may sound, kind of conceptually, you're trying to shape your whole arm through the hand back towards the court, right? Obviously, you know, you can't really change the shape of your forearm, so to speak, but you kind of want your arms working in conjunction with one another to create a shape that goes back into the court.
Rich, you might be able to shape your forearms.
I'm working on it.
15-8 here. Dalhausser, Drost. Again, winner moving on for Budinger and Evans. On the opposite side of the contenders bracket, it's Corey and Allison versus Allen and Lotman. So it's a 9 versus 10 currently in progress. There in the first set there, Billy Allen, Paul Lotman with the advantage.
That's another part of Survival Saturday that we talked about at the top of the broadcast, Cam, is if you win a match, what's your reward? You get to play almost immediately. Right? It's just kind of this ongoing grind that you find yourself in the contenders bracket.
You got to get through the big names and the fantastic teams here at the Manhattan Beach Open if you want to win it all. There is a reason this is an everlasting victory. Not only is it the Olympics, but this title, and not to mention adding in a new title. Can you become the league champs? That's going to be up there at the top of the list.
Another great serve from Dietrich. Phil handling this one.
It is 11-15. The service pressure coming from Dietrich.
Good little bounce back from Jake and Tim.
Some of the best ways to climb yourself out. Service pressure, blocks. Is that going to be the equation for success for Brewster and Dietrich as they head to this timeout?
Well, we're seeing something similar to what we saw in set one, right? Jake and Tim pushing back pretty hard, but Avery and Phil have kind of built themselves a lead where they can withstand a little bit of pushback. We'll see if that remains true here as the lead is now only 4.
Like, I just didn't have it. I was like, damn.
Look to the VIP. I think that's where we should go next. Are you off the next match?
No, Kim, it would be weird if both of us were off.
I mean, we could just leave Kevin Barnett up here. Why not? Just let him go full solo as you look to the women's seeds and where they now sit in the 2024 Manhattan Beach Open. Cloth and Nuss are in the winner's side. There is one loss between these top 4 seeds, and that is Chang and Hughes as they took the loss here against Savvy Simo and Abby Van Winkle. Flint and Scholes still in the mix, and Cannon and Kraft also remain spotless. Alex and April, the Manhattan Beach champions, the Olympic gold medalists, are out of this 2024 MBO. We did get a chance to see a fantastic matchup between them and some youngsters out of Cal Poly yesterday on our stadium court coverage. And hey, if you want to look, you can also go check out all of yesterday's matches. They are on YouTube right now. You can watch them all back for your shot to see some of the best in the world whenever you'd like.
Phil righting the ship with this one, saying maybe once, maybe twice, never thrice.
Nice placement from Jake Dietrich. If you're wondering about the opposite side in terms of the men's competition, on the winner's side of the bracket, you've got some big names in the mix. Theo Brunner, Trevor Crabb will face off against Cody Caldwell and Sean Cook. Cody Caldwell and Sean Cook had a fantastic Huntington Beach, and they find themselves at the 4 seed in this. Now a chance to face off versus the number 1. Benish and Partain are currently in action versus the 2 seed, Taylor Crabb, Taylor Sander. You want to talk about a good one. Right now, they're in a fantastic matchup. Ooh, actually, I think it might have just closed out. No spoilers here. Sorry, Rich, I'll find it for you. That was a close second set, I'll tell you that much. Catch all the action on Bally Live right now with the multi-court stream. Brewster adding an error to the stat line.
Just missing. That was a sharp angle he was attempting from a fair distance off the net. Barely missed it. Phil cranking up the serve a little bit here. That appears to be the pure side, appears to be the better of the two sides, doesn't it, Cam?
Yeah, a little bit more wind in the face. Throwing that topspin jumper into it. It's going to push that ball down even quicker. There's a good first contact, but maybe a bit too tight. He was chasing after it.
He was chasing. It was the right decision. Just barely missed the end line and somehow missed the hands of Avery Drost at the net.
2 away are Dalhausser and Drost from moving on in the contenders bracket. In front of a jam-packed crowd here on Stadium Court. He goes the opposite direction. You better give your love to the partner on the service line.
That's right, yeah. So we saw the good little mini run from Dietrich and Brewster from the end line from that far side a few moments ago, but Phil going on his own run here. Going to close this out in style.
Match point. Inches away from an ace.
Almost the ultimate style, but just barely long.
Goes to Dalhausser. I don't know if that's the right choice as that goes just inside. A little scoop from Dietrich. And the score from his partner.
That's interesting. I'm wondering if this is conditions dependent or if there's just a little bit of maybe miscommunication, missed execution on some of those sets to Phil. They seem a little bit low.
Maybe testing the set of Avery, to your point. Still match point for Dalhausser and Drost. They need one and they got space here. Higher set and into the coffin corner. Closing this one out, Dalhausser and Drost. Rather efficient in the second.
That was a nice switch up in service direction from Jake Dietrich, but Avery not fooled. Great side out, great win, Phil and Avery.
So for the first time today on Stadium Court, we had a two-setter.
You're welcome.
We're getting back on track here. We're a little bit behind schedule, but there is no worries. That just means there's more volleyball for you to watch, and you'll get a chance to see guys like this. Phil Dalhausser and Avery Drost will now advance to face off against the #5 seed, Chase Budinger and Miles Evans, the newly minted Olympians. Catch that on our coverage here on Bally Live. Let's take a look at some of the highlights for Phil Dalhausser and Avery Drost in this 2-set victory. Tim Brewster, Jake Dietrich started off really strong in the first. Gave a bit more trouble to the thin beast. What'd you like from Jake Dietrich?
Yeah, I mean, I like how aggressive he stayed offensively. He was excellent from the service line. It just, as is very often the case, consistency wins out. And, you know, it's hard to be perfectly consistent when you're dealing with Phil at the net for most of the match. You're going to have some mistakes. You're going to hit some balls in the block and so forth. But I do like the mindset from Brewster and Dietrich.
Mindset of Brewster and Dietrich. They stayed tough, and then that second set started to just sneak away from them. The block of Phil Dalhausser just proving to be too much, as well as the service pressure. Avery Drost pairing it off nicely alongside Phil with shots like that. So they will move on to face off another contenders bracket matchup. But we are moving on to the winner's side of the bracket. Men's quarterfinal action coming your direction. Brunner, Crabb, Caldwell, and Cook right here on Stadium Court.